looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Well, welcome everybody. Yes, it's about as intelligent as it gets around here tonight. I want to welcome everybody to the program. Thanks for coming in. It's nice doing these live broadcasts because I can see you over in the chat room, which is on the side of my screen. Master Finn, good to see you. Hope the ship is in Bristol fashion and the sails are unfurling as we speak. Morgan Snow, Scott Allen, Field Guy, Shelley. Good to see you, Shelley. Shelley is, I'm going to reveal your secret identity. Shelley is the wife of my guest. And so Shelley is actually the one. Wait, before I get into that, I suppose I should tell all of you, you're listening to my show, of which I'm the host. This is the Intrepid radio program, even though we're only broadcasting on YouTube tonight. The official name, the Intrepid radio program. We broadcast over at Odyssey Radio. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. Check out the schedule, see all the places and the times during the day where they play the rebroadcasts of this show. And you, of course, if you're not here and you're watching this, you are watching via my YouTube live stream. And so that's youtube.com/Mr., all spelled out, Scotty Roberts. And if you're not a member of the channel, just go down here, down below the window. You'll see a little join button. Just click on that, and it'll pop up 3 ways you can become a member of this channel. And so ask anybody else in there that's got the little round icon in the chat room if you see them, and they'll tell you what a wonderful experience it is being a member of this channel. All those perks that keep coming, right? And so I want to welcome you all to the show tonight. It's, what night is it anyway? It's Tuesday night already. Those of you who keep a close track, Rainey, my wife, is off to Alaska. She left this morning, so we've been, I pretty much did an all-nighter with the little naps in between, watching a little Josh Gates in the middle of everything. And we got her off at about 4 this morning and to the airport. So she's now in Eagle River, Alaska, which is outside of Anchorage somewhere. And my children, the little 6-year-old Ellery, as you all know her so well, has called her already 4 or 5 times today. And so I said, give Mom a chance to vacation. And then you can bug her a little bit. So I was going to say about Shelley, the wife of my guest tonight, Howie. It was her. Remember the pictures I showed you of that odd figure at the stepped pyramid of Dozier in Egypt? It was those pictures I took back in 2013. And I was showing Shelley that site because she was going to go there. And I talked about the vision, the weird stuff I had happen to me there. And I was looking at the stone where I was sitting way in the background. And as I scanned over in the photo, I saw this figure behind the stonework. And I thought it was really odd. Well, I found that because Shelley asked me if I had some pictures of the place, and we were talking about it. So otherwise, who knows how many years would have gone by before I saw that. Durwood, welcome to the show. Scott Allen, welcome to the show. Michelle Canham McFree, good to see you. Glad you made it in tonight. And so, without going on too much more, no political preambles today, or no civics, no talking about the Constitution, no matchbook courage, any of that. We're going to skip all that because I want to go right in now and talk with my special guest, Howie Noel. And Howie, I got to tell you, for as long as I've known you, I've never pronounced your last Noldechan, I think.
Never the full last name, Noldecken?
Noldecken.
There you go.
It's a hard CH in there.
Yeah, it's German.
Noldecken.
It's a hard.
And I've always known you. I knew you for probably the first 5 years I knew you as Howie Noel.
Yeah, that's why I shortened it. Yeah.
Noldecken, and I thought, who the hell is that wants to be friends on my Facebook?
That's my secret identity.
Your secret identity. And so, folks, I want to introduce you to Howie. Howie is somebody I met, I think, probably in 2009 or 2010. And we were at a Beyond Reality event at Mount Washington Hotel. And Howie does all the caricatures. And you can see by looking at the bookshelf behind him that he is an artist, a creative. You know, there's something that we always said about creatives in advertising. When we'd hire somebody to be an art director or something like that, we say, look, you got to give them their toys, you got to give them their space. And so we had lots of toys, lots of rubber dart wars that would take place in our offices and all kinds of stuff. So Howie is an amazing artist, and he's a caricaturist. That's how I met him. Mm-hmm. And so he does a lot of caricatures at the shows that we go to. He goes to a lot more than I do, these events. And you can go see his website. It's HC Noel, or Noel, if you want to be here. I'm actually even going to type it into the chat room so you can all see this. HCNoel.com. I may share my screen because I didn't prep a video or anything like that to display, set to music and, you know, stuff like that of Howie's work, but we'll go take a look throughout the show. And so there, I've introduced him while he's sitting quietly on screen. And so Howie, I just want to start with some really basic stuff, because I get asked this stuff all the time because I'm an illustrator. Mm-hmm. And so when did you in your life first really start realizing I got a gift? And maybe you didn't define it that way because, you know, a lot of artists are, while they want to show off their stuff, they're not always like, hey, I'm gifted. So, you know, when is it that you really started realizing that and it started driving your, not just your personal life, but it started driving your business life?
From the beginning. From the minute I was born, it was all I wanted to do was draw, and that's just, I was lucky to have parents who supported that and encouraged it. You know, some people don't get that lucky and have that support. And then by the time I got to, you know, art school at Pratt Institute, I was already so stubborn and believed in myself so much.
Yeah.
Nobody was going to derail it, and you need to have that to make it through life. You know, as an artist, you know, we're all sensitive, but you gotta have that inner strength to just keep going on through the rough times and criticisms and now online critiques.
You know,
so yeah, I always, ever since I was little, that's the one thing I wanted to do was draw, do cartoons, and do it professionally.
You know, speaking of that, I just bought this book. Oh,
yeah, I have that too.
You have that book? I just got it, and this is by an illustrator, and he's got other illustrators. I haven't even really had a chance to page through it, but that idea that you can be an artist and you can actually make a living at it. And he kind of goes through a little tutorial, the things they don't teach you.
Yeah, I like to learn. Yeah, I constantly like stuff like that, or learning anything, you know, because it's constant evolution. And, you know, Also, I love people that where they brag about being self-taught, but if you buy a book like that, it's teaching you. If you listen to your
Yes.
family, they tell you. If you watch Bob Ross, he taught you. I don't get the common thing that's now bragging that you're
Do you paint happy little trees, Howie?
Yeah, he taught me. Yeah, I did in school, and I loved Bob Ross.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think he was super.
Another Ross I like. Why is his name Skippy? Is it Alan Ross? It's the Ross who does all the. Remember, his big breakthrough in comic books was Kingdom Come.
Oh, Alex Ross.
That? Alex Ross.
I got to meet him.
Way
back. Yeah, he's super cool. I love him. I love Alex Ross.
Yes, he's amazing. And I want to not skip over anything necessarily, but I want to jump right into this because you were talking already about being an artist and the ups and the downs that come with that, and the things and believe me, I've been there. There are days you're like, fuck, I should have been a lawyer, or something like that. And because you look at your life and you go, hey, I draw great pictures, and some months are really good, and other months it's like, am I going to be able to pay the trash bill this month? As you go through, and so you have your doubts and your ups and downs. And you, amongst other things you've done a lot of caricature work. You did your comic series, Terra Normal, which, folks, I want you to go look that up over on his website, hcnoel.com. Yeah, and you came out with this last year.
Look, I got props. Oh,
there you go.
We go.
Yes.
There's Terra Normal.
There's Terra. Flip through that on the camera, even though we can show it on screen a little later. Yeah. But
here's I like him. This is Patient X. There you go.
There it is.
Beautiful.
Outstanding.
Beautiful. He's got my old teeth that I used to have before I got them straightened. That's how I view myself. Psychologists can look through these books and Yeah, I'm
sure. No, let's see.
There you go. There's Terra.
There you go. There's Terra Normal.
Save the day and lots of cool stuff like that. And of course, you want to start out every book. This is for like when parents ask if it's okay for little kids to read. I think so.
There you go. Absolutely.
And those are all my friends stuck in there. They all wanted to die in the hallway.
Let me die in the hallway.
Yeah, if you volunteered on Facebook, that's why if you're my Facebook friend, I will ask for faces sometimes, and that's what happens. But I warn you, you're going to die in a hallway.
Yeah, well, and you can also tell, for little kids, you just say, hey, they're actors.
They're just they're sleeping.
Yeah, they're sleeping
with their guts.
But this book, you mentioned the ups and the downs, and you came out with this book, and I picked it up a while back.
Yeah,
and ever since I read through this, I said, I have got to talk to Howie about this because here, folks, this doesn't do it justice here, but we'll show some pictures later. But you can see some of his artwork in the book here. Some of it's a little dark because it's dealing with a dark topic, and so you obviously were very motivated to write this. Derek Becker, Comic Pros and Cons, just off the back. Float is the closest I've seen anyone ever come to achieving pure perfection in sequential storytelling. Now, this is something, by the way, that's something industry standard maybe. I used to talk about comic books as being sequential art.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the fellow? I don't know if it's my memory these days. Am I just getting old and I forget everything? Who's the guy who wrote? He did The Spirit years and years ago, and he did he do Pogo as well?
Oh, Walt Kelly did Pogo.
Not Walt Kelly. It's somebody else. He wrote a book called Art and some comics in a sequential art or something like that. It's a big tome with all his work, but that's where I picked that up from way back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
That comic books, if they're done right, they are sequential art, and it tells a story. And there's a lot of this where you've done exactly what a comic book is supposed to do, where the story, the pictures tell the story.
Yeah,
and you've got dialogue in here. There's plenty of that to read. So something else. You say anxiety cannot be ignored. It's not something an individual can just change about themselves. It's a constant fight and a badge of honor to survive. I've always wanted to tell the story of my battle with my personal glass ceiling. Since I was diagnosed with anxiety, it's been an endless fight, and this is my war cry. I wanted to give it a voice and show no shame. So many others suffer from mental illness, and there's a stigma attached to it all. This book showcases this disorder and its true effects. And you can actually get the soundtrack for this, too, over at yourglassceiling.com.
Yeah, my friend Victor Guest did the entire soundtrack. Yeah, he did a full
outstanding.
It's a full, almost Broadway show based on my life and the book.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave Potter. I appreciate that. He says, I'm just getting older.
We all are.
Aren't we all? Amanda B. From Australia says, blown away with people who can draw. I can't draw, so what you do is amazing.
Thank you,
Howie.
Thank you.
So that's Amanda B., one of my good friends down in Australia. And so let's dig into this a little bit. It's it doesn't read like a comic book, folks. It's a graphic novel, and there's some very intimate, dark stuff in here. Tell me, I know what drove you to write this and illustrate it, but tell me about that process when you finally said, "I'm going to put pen to paper." Both writing and which may have just been word processing, of course, but and I'm going to start drawing this. What drove you to that point where you said, I got to do this. I got to make this happen?
I always wanted to do something autobiographical, and I had this theme of how mental health and conveying that. And I wanted to do, because I've seen many people like online and mostly memes or whatever, when they portray mental health things like depression or anxiety, it's a scribble, like a scratchy scribble. And I can't relate to that because I thought I'm not ruining my life over a scribble. I can't convey to you why I make the decisions I do. If I go, this scribble made me lose all these jobs. This scribble's why I freak out on airplanes. This scribble's why I panic, in the middle of the night. So I wanted to show anxiety as if it was this very charismatic rock star that says, come hang out with me. You don't need everybody else. You don't need anything else in your life. It's just going to be you and me. And it's an abusive relationship is what it is. And in the beginning, anxiety is a voice in your head. And it's how Iron Man has Jarvis. And you think that's your friend. You're talking to Jarvis. You think your inner monologue is your friend. I was always inside my head. Little did I know as I got older, and this inside friend, my voice, who I would just bounce off of, is saying horrible things, and it's not true. They're lies. It's lies, and you just have to learn that you're not getting normal worries. I tell friends all the time the worries I have, and they go, "Oh yeah, that's not normal," and that's very helpful because you have to ignore these constant, terrifying things that come in.
And also with other people, do you get a lot of? Now, I will qualify this. I don't have anxiety issues. I don't have. I'm actually a fairly psychologically perfect male, but
I have lots of worries. I cannot function and hang out.
I am, of course, being lighthearted. I've got all kinds of other idiosyncrasies that are stupid, but do you get the questions from people? And I know this because I've done this. My wife, and this is no secret here, we've talked about it on air before. My wife has anxiety issues. And it's like last night prepping to go to Alaska. My wife, who is normally a very organized, meticulous thinking person, there was no shit that would stick to the wall last night. And she was she starts to recognize it when she's my anxiety is way up. And something I've noticed is that my initial, as I was getting to know her, even after you're married, you marry somebody that has anxiety issues and it hasn't been defined very well, and the other person is growing with you. Anxiety issues are the things that can cause marriages to split.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
can cause relationships to end because you're like, what the hell, will you just get a grip, Howie? Can't you just get a grip on reality? Can't you just realize you're doing this and step out of it? Do you get a lot of that? Did you get a lot of that in the process?
I've been fortunate to where I think in the beginning, yeah, I mean, obviously jobs, they're not going to understand it. And when I first, I had to go to the doctor because of a panic attack. I was like, what is happening? Am I having a heart attack or something? And it's anxiety and generalized anxiety disorder. So that was such a relief to me. I was happy because I had an answer. I thought it was normal. I thought that's just what everybody freaks out like this. Everybody, blows up and catastrophizes, it makes everything a catastrophe. And so I just really started learning from that. And that's what Float began from. And as you see, people have sometimes good times of therapy and also bad. There is no single solution for everybody. You have to find your own. That's why when I did the Kickstarter, which was successful for the book, I had a mother ask, "Does this have a cure?" And I was like, "There's no cure. There's no cure for it. It's a constant fight." And that's what the book says. So the book begins, and as you go through with the ending, it actually is done in a way that you can flip it and start it again, because that's the cycle.
Yes.
You even if you lose to anxiety and you have a panic attack or you have the worst day ever, guess what? Tomorrow is a new day and you begin again, and it's okay. That's what you have to do. You have to be able to forgive yourself. You have to be able to go, it's okay that this happened. Yeah, it happens. So let's plan for the future. Let's do breathing exercise. Let's try to get a hold on this, and God bless my wife, Shelly, who is very, very understanding. And it's very hard. It's very hard to live with somebody who has this. And this book is for people that don't have anxiety, just know somebody with it, or you're married to somebody with it, or anything. It's for people that have it, for people that don't have it too. I wanted to show what it is like in kind of an adventure, a mystery. They're on an island. He's trying to get treated, but in reality, that's a fake front that he's putting on. You have to break down the barrier to get to the real me in that story. And once you do, you see the truth of it. And, I try to show what the fear is and everything like that. And really what it is, I'll try to convey this because I know some people get, well, I just don't listen. I just block it out. It is the thought of in the middle of the night, the regret is so real that because my father just passed, the thought of, oh my God, I don't have a video of him. I don't have any more videos of him. I'll never see him moving. What kind of thought is that? That is not a normal worry. That's not something an average person, thinks of. So that is just an example, one small tidbit of what anxiety disorder can do. And you can say you'd ignore that thought, but really, you can't ignore that kind of thought. You can't just go,
right.
What? Because it's such a, that's how low it has to sink to scare you. You get normal thoughts like, oh, did I leave the water on? I have that. But I got to check the door like 4 times when I leave to make sure I'm locked.
Nice.
It's just it gets a little annoying. But think about how devious a worry like that is. Or I'll go searching for something in the closet and I'll be up there for an hour if I don't stop myself. I'll just go searching for because my dad, when he passed away, he did little drawings. I must have hunted for 2 hours for that drawing. Oh, and I found it, but the panic, it's just not normal that you would panic, and drop everything. I got to go do this, and And it's, I know other people get that. It's thoughts that, see, that's why I like having this as a stepping stone, because it's anxiety disorder so much easier for me to explain to you than say schizophrenia.
Right.
It'd be very, very difficult for me. Like when I did Float, somebody was, you should do a full series on it now. People are just trained to market thing, and I'm like, this isn't what it's about. I'm not doing now. I'm going to do bipolar disorder. I don't have bipolar disorder. And that would be
right.
Then you're making it into a gimmick, but yeah.
It's funny. I've been married before, and my ex-wife was a manic depressive, a bipolar person. And so I learned a bit about that, but then I'm married to Rainey, who is pretty much got her shit together, and but she's got the anxiety. What would you say to people? That's a bad way to start. I hate those kinds of questions. Pardon me for doing it that way. Now, what would you tell the person who that's not how I want to approach that. There are people on the outside of this that are close to you, like you mentioned your wife, Shelley. And she's on the outside looking in, and she's, the way you see it, she's got to cope with your shit sometimes.
Yeah.
And I look at my wife, who looks at me. There are times where she has said to me, there's times my wife out and out just hates me. I hate you. And she's gets nasty because her anxieties totally override what's going on. And if I'm not thinking, I can sometimes be insensitive to that. I think I've gotten a lot better about that over the years, once we've learned this together. But there are times where she will do that. And at the same moment, she will say to me things like, she wrote this to me actually in a messenger on Facebook or something a few years back after a big knockdown drag out, and it was all over her certain anxieties. And it was something like, please don't leave me or discard me. I just want you to help love me through this. And that's when she recognizes what's going on with her, and she stops and she goes, I recognize what I just did, and I don't know how to not do that.
Do you hear what that is? It's fear.
Yes.
In the deep root of it, this is all fear. And that's what when people, it goes, George Lucas is a genius. So fear leads to anger. When Yoda says it, it's literal. That's what it does. Fear leads to most of the hatred in this world. And you lash out. You know why? Because you're tired of being so afraid. But what it does is cause you to lash out to the people closest to you, which is wrong. And you have, and it's just it's an apology tour, and it's just not, it's not cool that we do that. It's not cool. What I found out when doing this book, and my belief is, anxiety wants you alone. It wants you all to itself. And that's what it is. It's like a twisted, like, obsession. And that's why I did it as this is a rock star, but he can be whatever you want it to view it as. And I had to do it in the book as it's this thing that once your wife gone, once your loved one's gone, once your family gone, once your friends gone, once your job gone, it'll just be you and anxiety. And wouldn't that be great? And then it'll kill you. It wants you to have a heart attack and stroke and all this stuff and kill your health. And I mean, and that's, it's when you go into self-medication and all that stuff, but listen to what it is. Please don't leave me. And that's the truth. You don't want to be left alone, but you're lashing out and you're pushing people away. It takes a very strong partner to stick through it. And part of the book I wanted to show is how sad that is, and you lash out at the doctors too, because you want to, what is this? This isn't helping. Sometimes it's not helping. Sometimes it's not right. So you got to go and find the right doctor if that works for you. If talk therapy works for you, it's all a combo. Breathing exercises are just a free miracle. If you repeat those, that's like a simple breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. That will get you through the hardest thing in your day, usually, with anything with anxiety. It's just remembering to use that. Remember to use that breathing exercise. That's what you have to do. It's tough.
There's a Navy SEAL practice that is like that when you're wounded or you're isolated or you're hurt or there's a breathing practice. They do that in through the nose twice on a 2 count, out through the mouth on a slow 4 count.
Yep.
You control your breathing, and it starts to control the way you think.
Yeah.
And now I don't have anxiety as an issue, as a disorder, but I have anxiety, so I have a glimmer of what that's like. There are times where I will it wasn't COVID. We had COVID, the whole family did, back in January, and it didn't hit us on a respiratory level. It was more sinus level. But about a month ago, as most of my listeners know, I got a chest cold from my son, and it would put me into coughing jags that were so strong I couldn't take that breath in to make the next cough, which was gnawing on my throat. And it would wake me up sometimes in the middle of the night, and I would panic. Like, I would lay back down after it calmed down, and I'd panic, and my breathing wasn't regular, and I'd just sit up. And so I wouldn't get any sleep, because the irrational side said, if you go to sleep, you're going to die because you're gonna lose all your breath and you're gonna die.
No, that's a good bit of anxiety right there. That's a good one. Yeah.
My wife said, you're having a little anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And I said, and my response was, I don't have anxiety.
Sometimes you get a little bit of it. I think over the past pandemic, people learned that, anxiety can get you. It's just, hopefully it goes away, because normal people will get anxiety before a test or a big trip, or this thing is the kind that this stupid disorder brings. Is it's just constant. It's just, there is no test. Yes. It's that feeling, but it's like, oh, why is that? Why am I thinking of something? And people do it before they go to bed too, because you see memes where people having the same thing. Oh, that thing I did in 2nd grade. That's like, right. That's what it is. That's all. It's what it is, and it's just you just have to be like, no. And you know what? That's why you'll see these guys work out constantly. That's why you got to get outside. You got to do walking. Because if I'm working, it's hard to walk while you're doing illustrations, and trying to do that.
Yes.
Or just, how you are in your art studio, and you're like, oh, let me look at this story online, and let me check email, and I've got to get inspired. If you don't get that walk in, and I will be like, and that's where the gears start turning again. So it is about blocking out the noise. It's just, when that one will hit you in a certain way, you're like, it's like that person at a party that'll say something rude, and you're like, yeah, I can't ignore this. Whoa, you just said that? It's your own.
Right. And then you'll sit while you're drawing. And I was going to ask you, is your drawing a way that I know when I'm illustrating, I can totally tune out the entire world.
Yeah.
And my wife will be like, hey, you got to take your son to Scouts. You were supposed to leave 10 minutes ago. It's like I lose all track of time.
Yeah.
Now, do you do that when you illustrate, and do you find that's helpful?
Oh, yes. I know if I don't draw, then I get annoying. Like I get crazier than usual. I get upset, even though I'm the one that didn't. I'm the one that didn't do it, And I found, like, and that's why I started that the Dick Tracy Rogues Gallery art project that I do on Instagram, to get me through the stuff that's happened over the past year. So I find that as like a warm up. I do those before everything. And so it's just a good way to power through and kind of just get through everything that happens. I find art is therapy. The book, it was therapy for me, Float. Drawing that stuff out really helps. And to see that, as soon as I began the project, I got a message from a friend who said, I recognized what you're talking about, and I went and got help, because he had it, and that's, you're not going to get that if people like my other stuff, like Paranormal, but you're not going to get that kind of impact that I know of, where they went to go get help and get a doctor, and now hopefully they're better at home. Right. That's a special thing.
Let me ask a weird question of you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's like when I talked to your wife, Shelley, and I was telling her that story of the vision, quote unquote, I had in Egypt. And I always have a little trepidation when I bring up a topic like that because I go, vision. I don't know if it was a vision or my overactive imagination, but I think it was this. I'm not given to that stuff. Same thing in spiritual realm. In a sense, I'm going to ask you, where are you spiritually? Because not to be Theodoric of York, medieval barber. Remember, if you remember the old Steve Martin bit, why in the Dark Ages we'd have thought Howie was suffering from a demon or beset by some evil spirit, but now due to modern technology, we know it's a gnome or a small toad living in his stomach. So bleed him a pint. So is there a spiritual aspect to this? Do you think, to a forked question here, do you think the cause of any of this, it almost resembles, if you take yourself out of analyzing it, the process almost looks like demon possession or obsession or something like something that can keep coming back. You have to keep fighting it and so on. And then there's the spiritual side that says, I need to recognize now and act on a spirituality to help conquer this. Do you consider yourself a spiritual person? By that, I don't mean we've all seen ghosts. That doesn't make one a spiritual person. But do you believe you're spiritual? Do you believe there is a spiritual core to this? Do you believe spirituality is just another thing we can incorporate at the core level to fight it?
I think that you could. I think nobody really has an answer for why this happens. With some people, it is like a chemical imbalance. So it would be a thyroid. Mine's from birth, so there's different ways. It could be if somebody has it, and it can be actually where it could be cured as a diet change with some people, or something's off. That maybe something in your house is causing anxiety, like electrical wiring. Like that kind of thing.
Sure.
As far as spirituality, I absolutely do believe in something more than where we're at, and I know that because this little torture that I go through all the time is not where this can't be it, and I know that there is, because the experiences I've had, things I've seen, the stuff that keeps me going, and I think there is a spirituality within Float, because there's something more out there, and that's what I see in it. I show that there's something beautiful out there, and it can be obtained if you allow yourself to. And that's really what I'd love to do one day. And I allow that in the book, and I do allow happiness sometimes, but it's about forgiving yourself enough and stop being so hard, allowing yourself to have some happiness. Because it's really just, it's like the Scarlet Letter over here sometimes,
I know it's like the opening of your book, this character. This is how the world, that's anxiety.
Yeah.
And so that is the character that's constantly fighting with you in this book, that's saying, no, there is only me. There is only you. You have only me. So there was something you just said that sparked my wanting to say that, because that character your anxiety builds itself up to be the only thing you have that is worthwhile, and there's nothing else that can overtake that or replace it. So that
it's a way to explain that feeling why at 2 a.m. you get up and go look for something. I mean,
right.
And after my dad passed, like, I was only consumed with that. We were very close. And then I felt like, I told Shelly, when I had a normal anxiety thought, it took months for one to pop in, like a normal one. And I felt like guilty that it came back like that. Because all the thoughts I had were like all based on, where are all those pictures? Like, I panicked. I was like, I need all the pictures. I have them. So it was like manifesting in that way, which I felt was somehow okay, which is not. It's not okay. It's still punishing yourself, And then when I had one about a thing I was missing, I was like, I felt gross because it was like anxiety is like, oh, we can go back to our normal scheduled programming of self-punishment. And I thought it was a shame. It's a shameful thing to me. It's what in the book, the anxiety proposes is that this is it. You don't need anyone else. It's very selfish. And I wanted to propose it almost like a bad toxic relationship. Everybody's had maybe a partner that's too consuming and is bad for you, and that's what it is. So you have to make boundaries, and really it's like a battle. I wanted to show it as, and he turns into the girl at one point that you meet at the bar. Is this what you wanted? And I always like that when movies did that or something. I forget the movie that's a reference of where, oh, would you like it better if I was it was like an X-Men, I think what Mystique did that to Wolverine.
Oh, yes.
So it's something like a shape-shifting thing like that, like
I always likened it to the red-headed maid in American Horror Story.
Yes.
That first season.
Yeah.
I can be whatever you want me to be.
She's probably the best part. She's my favorite.
She was the best part of that first season.
Yeah.
So
it's like that. I wanted to show with Float. I wanted to make it though, when you read it, that it's exciting and somehow fun, and there's romantic parts too. So it's not just a clinical case study. Like I was given a book on anxiety. I was like, I can't read this. It's 600 pages. With anxiety, it rattles to the point where YouTube is really great because it's just my attention span gets worn down. But I will force myself to watch movies or get through a book. I used to read books nonstop, and I think it gets hard because you're like,
it does.
Yeah.
And I've never liked the treatment method of, I've got this book, read that 600-page book. Doing it in a graphic novel format, really somebody could read through this 20 minutes to a half an hour.
Oh yeah.
But absorb it, maybe not, but read it. Yeah. And, so
I didn't want it to be a punishment, and I know how I am. And also there's parts that you can guide through because it becomes like a storybook in certain parts, and there are no words. But you'll notice that you think there's words, and this is the book where I was able to show what I have sequential art wise. They don't take advantage of that in modern comics. They don't do all they can because they're products now. They're to sell you a movie or the logo, which is fine, and I get that. But it's an art form at its core, and like you mentioned, Eisner. That's a huge influence on Eisner. Me. Yeah, and Art Spiegelman. And that's what I wanted to do with this book. And this was the one where I got acclaim from like editors for the first time because they recognized what I was doing, and that is using it as an art form, which, nowadays that's not, necessarily what people are doing, but I wanted to show that I can do it. I wanted to give it my, one shot on this one. I wanted to make a statement.
It's when everybody suffers from anxiety, there is no one that's suffering from anxiety. It's like I would say if everything is racist, nothing is racist. You have to isolate the things and the people and the stuff that stand out that make that what it is. So I would say that you could probably say, or anybody could probably say, everybody's got a little bit of anxiety. Sure. But what you're talking about, define it in very succinct words right now. Are you calling this a mental disorder?
I don't know how they clinically define it. I guess it is a disorder. I mean, that's what they said, right? General anxiety disorder. Yeah. So the doctor did say that. But it's highly, you can live with, I know it has wrecked people's lives, and there's suicides because of it, because it is awful. It is, but I think this is the one that you can use as a stepping stone to start to explain to other things, because people, there's millions of people with this, millions, and people don't even know they have it. So when they're ruining jobs, they're still going through life, wrecking, leaving parties early, being a little causing little terror scenes at home. It's this, and if it'll be much better once you have that, because then hey, that's your anxiety doing that. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, it takes a while. So once you own it, it makes it much better. And I'd like more people to talk about it, because when people don't talk about things, that they boil over and they become problems. And that once you deal with one, you start to deal with, well, what's bipolar? You shouldn't be afraid of it. People have it. And when they take their medicine, they're right along with us. If they don't take their medicine, they're hurting, and it's bad.
Right. For you to have stepped out and talked about this and been very open about how it affects you and what you've done, and by writing this, a cathartic way of dealing with it, what has that done for you? Because we all have our own issues. I say I have my own idiosyncrasies too. Mm-hmm. I was sexually abused as a kid, as a 5-6-year-old kid. And the memory of that always stuck with me, but it wasn't until I was an adult when I realized how that changed my modes of operation and the way I do things. And so, we can get a little sing-songy with the psychobabble with it sometimes. Mm-hmm. But there are times I've said to my wife over the years, when I do that thing, tell me. Tell me I'm doing that, because one of the ways that people who've been abused that way will deal with it is they try to fix everything around them. They can get very controlling. They can be very, the house is never clean enough. The stuff is never picked up. And I find that I would lose touch sometimes. I'd be like, God damn it, did anybody pick up, you bunch of pigs I live with? That kind of a thing. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is to say there is a bit of trepidation when you bring up stuff like that out of your past and say, this is what I have to cope with. This is how I deal with it. Mm-hmm. There's that vulnerability you set yourself up for. Oh, are people going to buy my books anymore? Are people going to, because I've opened this thing up about me, or now I will always be looked at as the little kid who was abused or something like that.
Right.
Is this what you had to deal with? Did you have to go to a certain place to say, I have to? Did you wrestle with bringing this out into the open and having people know this about you? How do you help somebody with it by sharing it without feeling like you've hurt yourself? Is that some of the struggle you had with this?
Well, I just felt like I wanted to talk. I kind of I dived in and didn't really think about that until I was halfway, almost done drawing the book. And I went, oh man, I've drawn myself having a panic attack in my boxers.
I saw that. Yeah. Did you have a wife beater on too? I gotta look at that again.
Yeah. The
wife beater shirt,
top, which I don't normally wear. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. The wife beater in the box.
Studio every day. Yeah.
I had my fuzzy slippers on. So.
I was inspired by a fellow student I had in art school that I went to with an art school, and one of the during drawing class, she drew herself topless, and I just thought it was like really brave that she would do that, and it was just art, and I was always inspired by that, and I was like, that's like. I thought to me was like a huge brave step in expressing yourself and being creative, and I wanted to do that. Now I still wear clothes, so I cheated out. But I think everybody's happy about that, and I don't need to have a Dr. Manhattan moment. But I just wanted I didn't want it to be distracting. I wanted to show it was really sad. It's really sad. It's a sad picture. Nobody would ever want to be. I don't want to picture me like that. In a fetal position. Sad. And so I thought, you got to really show when you break through. That's the real me. It's not the Daniel Craig looking guy who's movie star, handsome, and he has anxiety. But that's also a good sign to show somebody like that does. Ryan Reynolds has anxiety.
Sure.
He's very open about. He has the same thing I have. And I wanted to show, like, so if I do shows like this and I talk about it, I want to show, hey, I'm another normal person that has other stuff, like I'm into everything and we can still hang out. That I never wanted it. You're going to lose some people, unfortunately, but that says a lot about them. It's probably about what they don't want to deal with, where I feel like anxiety, everybody's like, oh, he's got anxiety. He just worries a lot or something like that. You know,
Sure.
it just gets brought up. I'm very comfortable somehow talking about it. I think because I think the more I normalize it, then if I'm at a party and I start worrying about something, or you'll be like, oh, it's just anxiety. You know, it's better if everybody
Sure.
knows, then they see if they see me, you know, getting nervous about something or, you know, being depressed for a bit, they'll be like, oh, it's understandable. You know,
Sure.
I just felt it's weird. It was one thing I didn't worry about. It was too late.
Okay.
It was already out there. And when you're going to do it, and I thought it was a very important thing to do it and be open with it. And it's just like, it's like anything. I tend to be pretty open about stuff like that. I don't want to show like life's perfect, whether on my social media or something. So if there's a bad
Sure.
day, I like to mention it, you know, because it's not all crystal clean. But at the same time, I'm not going to take a picture of myself usually crying. Nobody wants to see that either.
No,
you gotta walk a balance, you know. I mean,
you being an artist, I did this once. You mentioned that, take a picture of yourself crying. I've never done that, but I've been in situations in my life, and this is many years ago now, where I was crying about something. I was so broken emotionally about something, and I walked into the bathroom and turned on the light to look at my face in the mirror because I wanted to see what that looked like as an artist. What does it look like to cry like that? I see other people cry, but what does it look like on my face?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's anywhere to go with that, but I don't know if you ever.
Oh yeah, well, I definitely in float. You want to show. I would recognize when it's happening and take a look at it and study because you want to act. You want to properly portray this. So the panic and stuff, and like I said, the fetal position, very common, you know, and the reaching up, the loss, the colors. There's just a feeling, and a lot of anger with me, and that's something that I wanted to show that it's like an anger of dealing. You're tired of dealing with it. You're angry that you have it, and it's that. Yeah, I don't know if it's. I'm sure women get it too, but as a guy, I just get real angry that it's frustrating. You get endlessly frustrated. Yeah,
I was really taken with this. So I can get around my microphone here with this page of you lying on the floor.
Yeah,
and the art in that is spectacular. Of course.
Oh, thank you.
But that's what you were talking about.
The styles change too. The style's different when when you're in the studio
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's drawn differently, and that is you go to the I go to the floor. I don't know why. Is it the lowest you can get? I don't know why that happens when
the lowest you can get at that particular moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Fetal position on the floor. Good one. You can't do that on an airplane. So you just have. That's why I have Xanax. I have Xanax for the airplane now, and it's wonderful. You can't. I did talk about medication that they prescribe sometimes. It's not.
I saw that.
It's not always with anxiety. It's not always the answer for some people, and sometimes they give you the wrong thing. And I wanted to mention that. Like sometimes you get prescribed a thing that really is not going to. If you feel wrong on it, you need to tell them. And that's what I wanted to point out, you know, in that scene where you just, because I've been given medication before where you're just, oh, you're not there.
Yeah.
And that's not a way also to live.
Yeah, no, it's not.
You know, you've got to find out what is working.
Rainey has been prescribed things for anxiety and she won't take it. She goes, I got this, but she said, I'm just not going to take it. She
a lot of us
alters who I am.
Yeah. But I will take my Xanax for the plane because I want to make sure your trip goes okay and you don't want
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
No flight attendant should have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. You know, like, I figured out what the worry was on the plane. The worry is I'll like upset you guys when you're on the plane with me. I don't want to ruin your trip. How silly. I don't want to ruin your trip. Yeah. Oh, if I have to go to the bathroom, what if I interrupt you while you're reading or something and make you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
I've gotten to the point in life where I don't care.
Yeah,
I gotta go. It's
most
like,
people don't. That's my
don't
friend
care.
said that he gave me, my friend Patrick gave me the best advice. You're not as important as you think you are.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Anxiety is really an inflated sense, also like
Yes.
grandiose kind of where everybody's worrying about you and thinking about you, and they're not.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
makes you feel much better. I was so relieved when he said that, because that's my big worry is, well, oh, what's everybody going to think? They're
What's
not
everybody
thinking.
going to think?
They don't care what you get up and go to the bathroom. You can get up and go to the bathroom. It's fine.
Well, I know what I want people to think. I'm going to share my screen for a minute. This is the best way I have to do this. So I've got to share my screen, and it of course starts right here on my home screen. But I want to go over to Howie's site.
Oh, there I am. Well, that's not me. That's Joaquin Phoenix.
There you go. Joaquin Phillips. Yes. Now this is Howie's site, HC Noel. If you're watching your screen, folks, he's got his caricatures. Let's see if I go here. Is that the you can actually order caricatures from Howie.
Yeah.
You can look at some of the stuff he's done here. That's one of my favorites.
Magnum
PI, yeah. So there you go. We can just flip through a couple of these prints.
There's Prince.
And I mean, he's so accurate. There's George Bush. There's Hillary Clinton. There's yeah.
Wow.
So, but you know what I mean. So this is some of his caricature work,
and we do
and
pets.
you can see.
Yeah,
you
I
do pets
portraits too. Yep, and doing them digitally, and then we mail the print to you, and you get the high res copy too.
And that's very cool.
Yeah.
And I've got a pug too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
she's a pug, mini English bulldog named Lucy Fur.
Oh.
So, Lucy for short. I did want to show. Here's your portfolio with illustration work. I want people to see this. Some of the stuff you've done. Now you've done a hell of a lot of work with the Ghost Hunters.
Yeah, with you too on the magazine.
With me too. Yeah. Yes. There's Jason, and we got Steve, and we got see, look
Dave.
at my old man mind.
Yeah, Dave. And that was for the Ghost Nation, which they used
for Ghost Nation.
They used that on T-shirts and social media. Yeah.
And that's an old one. That's Jason and Grant from Ghost Hunters when they were doing their
back when they had the
King's Pub.
Yes, that was for their bar.
Yes,
that was on T-shirts too.
And so now Howie said there was one. He did the Captain Kirk of me. I got to show you that, folks.
Yes,
I had that. I thought
that's
sitting
on your Facebook.
right up here. Hang on a second. I gotta find it without revealing all my deep dark secrets.
Yeah, don't do that.
Where's Howie? Where'd he go?
There I am. Down.
Right there.
Down.
Oh, no.
The group. There he is.
There you are.
Yeah.
Now he sent a couple of these to me. This is the first one Howie did for me, and this is where I say, Howie. He what's the word I'm looking for? There's a not stereotypes. The other way around. The he makes you look better than you are sometimes.
Well, I draw what I see.
And that's exactly what I was going to get at. I said, Howie, you made me look pretty buff in that picture. He goes, I paint what I see.
Exactly.
Which reminds me of an old Gay and Wilson line.
Yeah, it's like Titanic when Jack Drew.
Yes. Paint me like one of your starship captains, Howie.
Yes. I want people to be happy with their portraits. I'm not a cruel caricature artist, so people are usually worried about caricatures, but I actually genuinely want you to like it.
Oh, there's April Slaughter.
Yes.
There's another one he sent me. Howie did this for John and me. I think it's this one. No.
Nope.
That's not it. What am I looking at? Okay, there's that. It was the first one you sent me.
Go back out. No.
Uh-oh.
No. Go back.
Oh, that's not even yours.
No.
I'm lost.
You're in my you need to go back into messages. Go back into messages.
Hang on.
Because you're going through my
right. Here it is. This
is us using the internet.
I feel like you're me talking to my 82-year-old dad. and trying to talk them through how to get and send emails.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the little button that says send. Let me write that. Let me write that down. Send.
I'm peeking through so I can look at it. You know.
So that's the one Howie did of John Ward and I, and we used that on the radio show for a while, a few years back. So there's that, and let's go back. Cool one. It was a very cool one. I wanted to see if there was anything else in here. Here's just more of Howie's work.
Official Ghostbusters cards.
Yeah, that was way up there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are official. That was cool to be able to do.
Very cool stuff. And I'm just showing, you're seeing this in miniature because, folks, you can go, oh, here's the one. Howie did this for me. He says, I don't always agree with your politics, but I'll do it for you. I had him do a political cartoon for Intrepid magazine. This is all the way back in 2000. I want to say this is early 2011.
Well, that was a funny one. That's a funny one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of that. And your comics. We got Float up here. And here's Terra Normal.
Yeah.
This is his character, Terra Normal.
And you can actually read the whole book on there because when the pandemic began, I started uploading everything for everybody instead of doing the opposite and trying to milk people of money. I wanted you to be able to, when we thought this was only going to be a couple months.
You're right. So, I do. I
thought this was going to be over quick. What did I know?
Yeah, what do you know?
You can actually go through, and I added pages and new stuff, and so even if you've read it before, you can come back, and there's some new hidden gems in there.
I love this. The whole thing's up here.
Yeah, and you just go right through and scroll through, and you guys can enjoy it. And then if you want a signed copy, you can go to my shop. So
and you can buy a signed copy. Yeah, is that the best place for people to go to? I know they can order caricatures here, portraits here, and all of that. Just go to hcnoel.com.
Yeah, or Amazon. So our friend in Australia, if she would like books, she can go to Amazon. I'm on Amazon. For caricatures, you have to go through me and just message me if you're out of the US, because on my site it says we don't accept outside orders. That was just because it's so the mailing is usually, but I will make sure exception if you want to work with me.
Outstanding. Just tell them that you are listeners
Scotty
to this show.
Yes. Name drop.
There it is.
Name drop that captain.
All right. Well, we have there it is. Well, we have exceeded our time, but that's okay because I don't care, and nobody's watching and governing me. So, Howie, I appreciate your coming on. I think the best way for people to get a hold of you is just go to your website, hcnoel.com. And I think one of our moderators already spilled that into the chat room. And just looking to see Master Finn. If you could throw that up again, that'd be fantastic. Just so people can see it. And Howie, I really appreciate you coming on. I know these are conversations that we can hit the highlights, and that's probably good because otherwise we could have a 3-hour conversation and sink people. Yeah. So I know how these things go. I appreciate your time and coming on and joining me tonight. It means a lot to me. And it's good to see you.
Yeah, man. I love you.
Good to see you. I love you too, man. It's been too long since we've seen face to face.
I know. I just stare at pictures of you and pretend they're talking.
I know. You do that too. I like to cut your mouth out and stick my tongue out, and I go, "Hi, I'm Howie Noel."
I know what your week's gonna look like while I was away.
What'd you do while I was gone, honey?
I talked to Howie again.
Talked to Howie. I recorded him and he talked back to me.
There you go. You'll always have this.
We'll always have Paris. So, all right, Howie, I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to sign off with everybody else. So thanks again, brother. And I'm going to kick you out of here now. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Say hey to Shelly. All right, guys, that is my friend Howie Noel. And I hope that you enjoyed this little foray into his work and into the psychological side of things. the things that at least Howie, I wish he was still here. I'd say this to him. If you're still there listening, Howie, at least you haven't cut off an ear yet. So that's probably a good thing. What's that you say, Scotty? I said, you didn't cut off your ear yet. So there it is. So, folks, thanks for being here tonight. And we do have a couple of guests coming up next week, and I'll let you know. We've got actually got Jason Hawes from Ghost Hunters is going to come on next week sometime as soon as we get his schedule. He is out until Thursday night this week. Maybe he meant he was free on Friday, but I said, hey, just let me know when you're free, and we'll get it lined up. So, yeah, I think so, Matt Finn. It's a great and fun way to describe anxiety through the eyes of an artist. So it was good stuff. Shelley, thank you. I appreciate you being here. He just did hear it. That's good. All right. And Shelley, of course, is Howie's wife. So, all right, folks, that's it. We're going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to take a 23-hour break, and we're going to be right back here. And so you guys sit tight. Be prepared. Tomorrow we're going to jump back into our Christo-paganism, mysticism talk. And so bring your thinking caps and your iron shorts. And hopefully this will be a lot of fun tomorrow night, too. So we'll see you. I'm ending weak. I'm not ending strong. I keep talking. So you guys, you know what? Live long and prosper.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.